Good evening, guys. Bill McMillan here with NDWX.com, and the first significant winter event of the fall season is upon us here. Some reports of moderate to even heavy snow coming out of Missouri this evening, and this will continue to progress off to the east and northeast as we move through the nighttime and into early portions of our Friday. And as we look at the forecast radar here, we'll pause this around 2 to 3 o'clock Friday morning when precipitation will really overspread the state. And we think from Indianapolis and points south, this is primarily a cold rain event. That said, from Indy and points north, we think it's mostly a wet snow type system. And don't be surprised if your travels take you north of the city and certainly across the northern third of the state for some light accumulation during the overnight and on into Friday morning. Now, this is going to be mostly a novelty type event before a true shot of early season Arctic air blows into town tomorrow afternoon, tomorrow evening, and with that will come scattered snow squalls. And some of these will be rather intense. Now, the overall coverage will be scattered in nature, but certainly if you have travel plans across the state, or for that matter across the Ohio Valley tomorrow night, be prepared for the possibility of sudden reductions in visibility, gusty winds, and certainly plummeting temperatures as we move into the upcoming weekend. Speaking of that, I tell you what, just a remarkable shot of early season cold air coming in here. But before we take a look at forecast wind chills, this is an idea of what snowfall accumulation may occur off of the HRRR. Now, I'll say early season snow events certainly are tricky. I wouldn't expect for at least through tomorrow morning for these 1 to 2 inch type amounts to really come to fruition for most of central Indiana, or the northern half of the state, I should say. More likely going to see a coating to less than an inch of wet, slushy snow north of the city tomorrow morning. The big story, though, as alluded, is the first-class shot of bitterly cold air given the time of the year that will blow into town to open up the weekend. This is forecast wind chill values. And most of central Indiana will wake up Saturday morning to wind chills in the single digits. A pretty rude shock to the system considering we're only in the early parts of November. Now, we have additional fun and games that will loom early parts of next week. A more significant storm system likely will track out of the deep south, Gulf of Mexico here, up the eastern seaboard, favoring a track along and west of the Appalachians until it at least gets up into the mid-Atlantic region. At that point, likely will secondary off the New England coast. Far too early to set any sort of specific details with respect to a forecast. However, I will say this system, early parts of next week, will have a more widespread accumulating snow event to the west of where the low tracks. Exactly where that is yet to be determined, but the potential is there certainly across the Ohio Valley for someone to see a few inches of wet snow out of that system, and we'll be here through the weekend to fine-tune things. If you're not ready to say hello to winter, you're in luck. A relaxation of the cold and an overall milder pattern will take place once we get past the middle part of November. So there's some hope there if you're not quite ready to welcome in winter. Guys, make it a great evening. Thank you as always for logging on to NDWX.com. Enjoy the first snow of the season for most of us, especially north of the city. If you don't see it in the morning, don't be surprised again to see those snow squalls tomorrow evening as the Arctic air arrives. We'll talk with you soon.